Now, you invite your friends over for dinner and they turn up with a long list of foods they can't eat. And your fussy guests are not alone. The Australian Food Intolerance Network claims it gets around 1,000 hits on its website every day.
But are all these allergies and intolerances legitimate, or have they turned into an unhealthy obsession?
For more on this, we are joined by author and speaker Dr. Helena Popovic. Helena, always wonderful to talk to you on the show. Just quickly,
likewise.
Let's sort this out. What's the difference between a food allergy and a food intolerance?
Well, a food allergy is an immune system reaction, so it involves antibodies and histamines, and it affects multiple organs, not just the abdomen. So think of any allergy. You might get a rash, itching, hives, difficulty breathing, a sudden drop in blood pressure, and a genuine food allergy can be life-threatening if it develops into anaphylaxis. So that person needs to carry an adrenaline-containing EpiPen, which they self-inject or someone else can inject into a muscle to save their life. Now, in contrast, a food intolerance means that for some reason your body isn't digesting a particular food properly. And that might be because you're not producing enough of the enzyme required. For example, you're not producing enough lactase, so you can't digest lactose. Or maybe your gut is sensitive to a substance in a food, like sulfites in dried fruit or alcohol. And the symptoms are generally milder. They generally involve the gut and often mental health as well, moodiness, irritability. They're much harder to diagnose because it can be a delayed reaction. With an allergy, within minutes you will react. With an intolerance, it can even take days. So it can be tricky, but it won't kill you, an intolerance.
And are they inherited intolerances, or do they develop over a certain period of time?
Well, some have a genetic component. For instance, if you have a peanut allergy, then your child is 7 times more likely to have a peanut allergy themselves. If you have fructose intolerance, that can be a hereditary absence of an enzyme called aldolase B. But usually it's an interplay of genes and environment.
Okay. Can you get a reliable test for intolerances?
What you need to do is eliminate what you believe are the offending foods for a long period of time and then very slowly introduce them one by one. So that's why it can take time. And the difficulty is it can be a substance in a range of foods, not just one food. So it's really an elimination diet followed by a slow reintroduction and really observing your own body and seeing how you react.
Well, a lot of people think they're doing the right thing and will have a kale smoothie, a shot of apple cider vinegar or something like that, and they're often left feeling bloated or sick. Can sometimes eating healthy foods actually make your gut worse?
Unfortunately, depending on the state of your gut, yes. So it boils down to fibre is not a quick fix and it's not a fix for all gut problems. If you have inflammatory bowel disease, Crohn's disease, even if you have diabetes, your stomach isn't as good at emptying. And what that means is if you have a lot of high fibre foods, you can even get blockage and you can have worsening of reflux symptoms. But that's if you've got, say, long-standing diabetes or an existing gut problem. The other thing too is when you increase fibre in your diet, you must also increase the water in your diet because fibre absorbs water and that helps it pass through. Even certain types of constipation, for instance, slow transit constipation that affects nerves and muscles in your gut, actually gets worse with more fibre. That needs, so interestingly, more water, and it needs you to exercise regularly. So after a meal, go for a 15-minute walk and that produces hormones that help your gut work better.
Okay. Very quickly, Helena, what are some of the common causes of bloating and how can we prevent it?
There are probably hundreds of different causes of bloating, and it's due to excessive water or air in your gut. And a very common cause that people don't realise is swallowing air. And we do that when we eat too quickly, or when we chew gum or smoke, or drink fizzy drinks too quickly, or even loose-fitting dentures. So attend to that first. But the second most common problem is those food intolerances. So identifying the offending food. And people also don't realise that stress and poor sleep, chronic stress, chronic poor sleep can also aggravate the gut.
What about drinking water with meals? Is that a good idea?
It actually is. Now, a lot of people think it digests your digestive juice, it dilutes your digestive juices, but in fact, water enhances your digestion. It helps you absorb the nutrients from your food. It softens your stool. It helps things pass through you more easily. And an interesting finding, lots of researchers found that people who drink 20 minutes before a meal up to and during their meal actually consume fewer calories because they trigger the receptors in your stomach that signal your brain that you've had enough to eat quicker, so you feel fuller sooner. So water actually helps a lot.
Yeah, truly, water is the fuel of life, isn't
Yes.
it? Thanks so much, Elena. Great to talk to you.
My pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Elena.
Bye.
Lots of good advice as always.